guys, welcome to my easy stretch class. This is going to be some yoga, some other things. You may need 2 blocks and a strap, so make sure you have those with you. We're going to start out on hands and knees. Just doing some cat and cow, so with the hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. We'll inhale and draw that tail far behind, reaching the heart forward. And exhale, round the spine into your cat-shaped chin, comes in towards the chest, press the hips forward. 2 more times, inhale, belly in, sending lower ribs towards the floor. And exhale, round, trying to separate those shoulder blades. Inhale, cow. And exhale, cat. Go ahead and find your cow shape again, and we're just gonna rock side to side here. So you're gonna come a little forward, shoulders in front of wrists. You're gonna come on back kind of into a child's pose, but with the tail tilted upwards. You'll just do this a few times. No right way to move, just moving wherever the body feels like it needs to go here. Come back to center. We're going to find that cat shape now. Do the exact same thing. So rocking forward, shoulders in front of wrists, pressing hips forward, and then bringing hips back, kind of like you're coming into child's pose, but with a more rounded spine. Just do this a few more times, moving with the breath. Back to center here, we're going to thread the needle. So left hand comes a little bit more forward and maybe more towards the center of the mat. We're going to inhale the right hand up towards the sky and exhale, reach that right arm through. Place the right shoulder on the mat side of the head and then press into the mat with both hands. We're trying to bring the left shoulder blade a little bit more on top of the right. Drawing the belly in, sending the hips straight back, looking for that right shoulder blade stretch here. Also a twist at the abdomen and at the heart. Gently press yourself back up. We'll do the other side, right hand to the mat. Inhale, reach the left hand up towards the sky. And exhale, reach on through far over towards the right side before placing the left shoulder, side of the head on the floor. And then again, press equally with both hands to lift the heart towards the right side of the room. Send the right shoulder blade back into space and send those hips back equally as well. They may want to come over to the right. That's going to get you more stretch in the hips, but we're looking for more of an upper body stretch. So try to concentrate in that area. Deep breath in. Exhale, press yourself up to center. We'll do extended puppy pose. So almost like a child's pose, except hips are going to be over the knees. Instead of I like to tuck my toes, it's going to be a little more grounding. Either you can place elbows on the floor here and then press the heart towards the floor. Maybe a little bit more advanced, you stretch the arms out in front and bring the chest towards the floor. Chest doesn't have to reach, and maybe forehead's on the floor, kind of like child's pose as well. But if you can, root downward through the chest, maybe it finds the floor and you can turn the gaze forward instead. We're trying to open up the collarbones, the front side of the body, maybe by squeezing the shoulder blades in just a little bit to make that happen. Lengthen at the armpits, that length continuing down the sides of the rib cage, all the way out the hips. And make sure you can breathe. We'll bring ourselves up right here very slowly. From here, go ahead and tuck the toes under. We're going to find a bottom of the foot and toe stretch. So maybe even reach back, find the toes, bring them in a little bit closer towards the knees. See if you can broaden at the bottoms of the feet, trying to get all toes into the floor. It may not happen, just see what you can do. You could stay here just pressing the hips deeper into the heels, or maybe you can walk the hands up to the thighs and you're all the way up here. If you need those blocks to be on either side, you can do that as well. Just try to make sure the ankles aren't splaying out towards the sides, but staying right underneath the hip point. points. Gently bring those hands back on the floor. Bring the tops of the feet into the floor again. We'll just knock them out a few times just to relieve any tension at the bottoms of the feet. And now we'll stretch out the tops of the feet. So we're lengthening the tops of the feet on the floor as much as we can. You'll sit back into your lightning bolt pose. And maybe this is about as far as you want to go today. And if you can't sit on top of the heels, you're going to bring this block in. Place it underneath the seat, and maybe you need 2 blocks, and you can bring 2 blocks in as well. Again, we're trying to broaden the tops of the feet into the floor, so if you notice the pinky toes aren't quite making it, see if you can bring them down a little bit deeper. And if this isn't quite intense enough for you, maybe you're bringing fingertips to floor and walking yourself back. Any amount of recline here is going to make the stretch of the knees and the tops of the feet a little bit more intense. You can even lift the knees coming onto the tops of the feet, so just be very careful if you're going to take this version of the pose. One more deep breath in. Slowly release those knees back to the floor. Hands are going to come onto the floor, and we'll just stretch out the calves one at a time, bringing the toes to the floor, sending that heel back and forth a couple times, just noticing the lengthening at the back of the calf, the Achilles tendon. And we'll switch sides. Right knee comes onto the floor, left toes come behind. Rock back and forth. So we freed some space at the ankles, the knees, the calves. We're going to use that space to find maybe a deeper downward dog. So with the hands at the front of the mat, spread the fingers, tuck the toes, and start to lift the hips up towards the sky. You can stay on the toes if the knees bend, trying to bring the heart towards the shins, especially if you notice the legs start to straighten out and the upper body's rounding. Bring that bend into the knees. Draw the belly, and we're looking for that back bend shape that we had in extended puppy pose, as well as stretching the backs of the legs. So see if you can do all of that here. Go ahead and bend the knees, look forward. We'll take a step or walk, find the front of the mat. Feet are going to come hip distance apart for ragdoll, so just allow the upper body to sink towards the floor. Maybe you're grabbing onto alternate elbows. You can give yourself a little sway side to side as well. Go ahead and bring yourself all the way upright. We'll roll up one vertebrae at a time. So we're rounding that upper back, keeping the knees nice and soft here. Start to lift up at the back of the heart. Eventually the hips are going to come more into alignment, and the shoulders are going to roll back, chin is still in towards the chest. Eventually you tuck that tail, and the last thing you start to do is turn that gaze forward. And we'll find our mountain pose. In your mountain pose, maybe you bring the feet a little bit closer together. It's going to be a little bit more difficult on your balance, but bring the shoulders back and down, turning the palms towards the front of the room, and reach out forward. We're lifting up at the heart, trying to bring the whole rib cage a little bit farther away from the floor. Send the tail towards the floor, but lift upward through the crown of the head. Just making some length along the neck, the collarbones, opening up at the throat. So hopefully you have that strap nearby and you can go ahead and grab it pretty quickly. First thing we're going to do with this is practice some of the shoulder retraction and bring one hand into the loop just so it's not swinging around and hitting anything. We'll start with the hands just outer shoulder distance apart, and you can pull the strap in too while drawing the shoulder blades in a little bit closer behind. And what we're going to do here is just exhale and draw shoulder blades back, not bending the arms out or anything, keeping the arms exactly where they were, just drawing shoulder blades in. And then exhale, push those arms out forward, still trying to press the strap into opposing directions. We'll do this 3 more times. So squeeze shoulder blades back and down. And then lengthen the fist forward, maybe rounding the shoulder blades just a bit. Bring it on back. Push up forward. One more time, squeeze those shoulder blades back. Lengthen the knuckles forward. We'll just take a little rest. You can bring the arms to the sides and shake it out. Gonna go a little bit deeper with that. Trying to keep the shoulders retracted. We're gonna bring the arms up and maybe overhead as well. So find a more looser set on the strap, maybe 2-3 feet apart even. Start with the strap out in front and we'll draw the shoulder blades back. And then lift up. We're still pulling the strap in two opposing directions, and if you notice you can't get behind equally and the arms are doing different things, slack on the strap as much as you need to pull overhead, keeping the shoulders down, that whole body neutral, just moving the shoulders. We'll bring that strap back on forward. Gonna do this 5 more times. Just notice any space you're making at the biceps, the front of the shoulders, around the heart, the compression at the shoulder blades. And maybe after you've done a couple of these and you can walk the hands a little bit closer together and find a deeper stretch, do that. Still notice if one elbow's bending at a time here, if the arms are uneven, you really want to keep them nice and strong and straight-ish. Straight as you can get them really without hyperextending that elbow too much. I think I have one more here going for that last one. Breathing deeply as I do it. I'll bring the strap back out in front and take another rest again, shake it out. Gonna do that involving the sides of the body this time. So same kind of whatever width on the strap you needed to bring the arms behind, you'll find that again. This time we're gonna bring the right arm out to the side and pull the left arm up. So we're just pulling right arm, left arm's gonna travel with it, but then press the left arm up here. And we're bringing the arms as far behind the back as we can here. I'll come to the side so you can see. Not trying to force anything, so maybe the arms are kind of out in front and that is perfectly fine. As long as you're feeling something, a stretch through the left side of the body, mostly just continue stretching there. We'll do the opposite side. Right arm's going to come up and start by pulling the strap out towards the left side, trying to bring the arm maybe a little farther behind the back, and then the right arm is just going to point up. So you're still pulling the strap in two opposing directions, but the left arm is leading into the pose. Nice stretch for the right side of the body. Try to open that rib cage up. Gently bring yourself back up to center, lower the arms. You can let go of the strap, roll out the arms a couple times, maybe shake out the wrists. Sometimes my hands have a sensation left of gripping and I need to kind of let go of that before I move on. We'll come to the front of the mat. You can inhale and stretch the arms up. And exhale, fold forward over those thighs, keeping the knees soft. You may need blocks here. We're going to be stepping back 1 foot at a time, and if you can't bring the hands on the floor comfortably, I highly recommend these blocks. First thing we're going to do is step the left foot to the back of the mat. And if you have these blocks, you want to place them on either side of the feet. Otherwise, hands are on either side of the front foot. Just taking a runner's lunge here. So if the back knee is bending towards the floor and the tail is lifting behind, see if you can press the leg back into space and send the tail towards the floor. Right knee is right over the ankle. This is pretty important. We don't want it to be inward or too far forward or out towards the side. From here, place that left hand on the inside of the right foot, and we're lifting the right hand up towards the sky for revolved low lunge, making sure the legs are same thing going on here, straight and strong, just twisting out towards the right side. You can even draw shoulder blades in a little bit and press out through the hands, kind of like we have that strap motion going on. Gently bring the right hand back onto the floor. We're just going to ground the back heel now, bringing the back foot in a couple inches and take our intense side stretch or pyramid pose. So you'll start to straighten out that right leg here. And if this is not happening for you, all you have to do is to bring those blocks and you have all that extra height to straighten out the right leg. We're sending the right hip back into space and the left hip can swivel forward a little bit. If you have the space, you can also fold forward over the thigh. And it's pretty early in the morning for me, so I'm not going to do too much folding here. Hamstring not quite warmed up yet. In fact, I recommend you do some maybe cardio or some weightlifting, some sort of exercise before you do your stretch videos here, just so you're not coming into the video too cold. Okay, you can bend that front knee, step the left foot to meet the right, and we'll just fold forward here, evening out the sides before we step the right foot back and do that whole sequence on the other side. Okay, so this time right foot's going to step to the back of the mat and see if you can bring those hands on either side of the front foot. Left knee right over the ankle, right leg straightening out behind, tail tucking, lift the heart forward. So again, if you notice this rounding kind of thing going on, you're going to bring block center just onto the fingertips so you can elevate and make some more space for yourself. So right hand's going to stay on the floor here as you twist over towards the left, keeping the legs exactly where they were before. The left hip may want to come out to the side. See if you can draw it back so that it's in alignment with that front foot. And draw the belly in. Try to open the heart towards the left side of the room and press the shoulder blades and arms back a little bit as if you had an imaginary wall you can flatten them out against. Inhale. Exhale, both hands are going to come onto the floor. We're going to step right foot forward just a little bit, turning the toes out 45 degrees. Straighten out that left leg again. Bring in the blocks if you need to. Straighten out that leg a little bit more. We're sending the left hip back into space, maybe right hip a little bit forward. And then you can fold over that thigh again. See if you can drag that whole leg down into towards the floor. And if the front of the left thigh is not engaged, see if flexing the quadricep is going to enable you to straighten out behind the knee just a little bit more. Okay, go ahead and bend the left knee. This time we're stepping the left foot back to meet the right. And we're bringing the knees onto the floor. Go ahead and find a seated position here. Cross-legged easy seat. Just going to take a seated twist. So you can inhale the arms upright here. And we'll exhale, rotate over towards the right side of the room. Right hand is going to come behind the back and the left hand to the right knee. And then pull that heart over towards the right. We're gazing over that right shoulder as well. Keeping the belly in to lengthen throughout the spine and using all that length to just turn a little bit more on each exhale. Really use that breath to help deepen the pose here. We'll go ahead and inhale, arms back upright again. This time exhaling over towards the left. Right hand to left knee, left hand behind the back. Rotate the belly and the heart over towards the left side of the room. Even turn the chin, turn the gaze towards the wall behind you. I like to keep my elbows nice and low here, my shoulders away from the ears, just to lift and lengthen at the heart a little bit more. Come back to center. And we're going to fold forward. So in order to keep the knees and ankles safe, see if you can bring a little bit of flexion into the feet. Bring the hands out forward, and maybe you're staying right here, or you can walk out a little bit more. And we'll just soften the upper body towards the floor. So you can bring the chin in towards the chest. Maybe you're even bringing blocks underneath the forearm so you can rest. We're just lengthening the back of the body and feeling the lower back broaden a little bit. Even the chin can come in towards the chest just to make some space behind the cervical spine. Go ahead and walk the hands back up. We're just going to switch the cross in the legs, this time doing a side body lengthening. We will get to that folding as well, so we'll do both sides on that. But left arm is going to come out to the side. Reach the right arm up and try to lengthen the right side of the rib cage up towards the sky, and then lean out towards the left side of the room. If it's okay to bring the left elbow onto the floor, do that. Keep on pressing into the outside of the right hip. So if you're leaning into the elbow and the right hip is coming onto the floor, maybe come a little bit more upright so you can find that revolution and pressing down into the right hip, the reaching up through the right fingertips. You can inhale, bring yourself all the way upright. Right arm comes out to the side. This time you'll reach up through the left fingertips and fold out towards the right, pressing that left hip down into the floor as deeply as you can feel the right. And I want your fingers to be nice and strong and spreading here, so maybe you turn the gaze up, give the neck a little bit of a stretch, and see that you're reaching out in the way. And if the elbow's bent, maybe you're reaching more up towards the sky, trying to keep that strong line, or out to the side if you can keep it straighter. Go ahead and inhale, press yourself upright. And we're folding forward again, so bring a little flexion into the feet. Walk out forward. You can come all the way to belly into thighs if you'd like, or just as much as the body's willing to open. Let go. We're deepening the breath a lot here. Maybe on the inhale you bring in so much air into those lungs and the abdomen that you feel maybe the chest or belly press into the inner thighs. And as you exhale, maybe you draw the belly in to help that air escape and maybe sink a little bit deeper into the pose. You can walk yourself upright here. Bring the legs out to the side. We're coming onto the belly. Finding a Sphinx pose. So you can stretch those toes all the way out on the floor. Press the tops of the feet into the mat. Scooch those elbows underneath the shoulders. You can spread the wrist creases and place the hands onto the mat. Try to squeeze a little bit inward through the elbows and draw the belly and shifting the body forward. The shoulders are coming back away from the ears. Lengthen the sternum upward. Lift up through the crown of the head. Maybe turn the gaze just slightly upward so we're opening up at the throat as well. We're just going to do a quad stretch in this pose as well, your half frog shape. So the right arm can come over towards the center here as we open up the left side of the body a little bit. We're going to reach that left heel in. See if you can grab the foot. Try to roll the shoulder forward, bend the elbow up, and bring the heel in towards the glute. If you're still open towards the left side of the room, maybe you close the left hip down. Try to squeeze the knee in a little bit closer, and then open the heart up towards the front of the room like you were doing your Sphinx pose again. We're trying to find that front of the left thigh stretch, so anything you can do to make that stretch a little bit deeper. I like to press my left hip into the floor a little bit deeper to get that deeper stretch. And we'll switch sides. Gently releasing the left leg to the floor, bring the left arm to center. Open up to the right side a little bit so you can grab onto this foot and roll the shoulder forward, bend the elbow upward. Foot is going to come just towards the outside of the glute, so not towards the inside here, not too far towards the outside of the mat. Again, we're going to want to curl that heart forward. And if you can't find the foot, all you're going to do is bring the strap, make yourself a little loop, and hopefully you can find the foot, and then you'll just pull it forward with you. Gently release. Just sink onto the belly, bringing arms towards the sides, rocking side to side. You can press yourself upright here. We're going to come to a wall, and if you don't have a wall, you can still do these poses sitting up. It's just nice to use a different direction of gravity sometimes when you're doing your hip openers. A lot of times when we're seated, such as in our wide-legged forward fold, there's a lot of pressure into the lower back as you're lowering forward. So for this one, we're actually going to come all the way to the wall. You're going to bring your bottom close to the wall, up against the right side here, and try to lean back. Swivel legs up right here, and then maybe use the elbows to scoot yourself a little bit closer. So from straight legs here, just go ahead and widen the legs out towards the side as much as is comfortable. You can always go deeper or go lighter throughout the pose, so you're not stuck to any place here. See if you can flex the toes and maybe rotate the toes towards the floor a little bit more as you lengthen the insides of the thighs up towards the sky. We'll be here a few minutes. Take this as a yin pose if you'd like as well, just softening if you want, or maybe using a little more muscular strength. Flexing toes, drawing belly in, rotating toes towards the floor to deepen the stretch. I also like to scoot my pelvis up and forward, sending my hips a little bit upward. Not so far that they're lifting away from the floor, but that motion does get me a little extra space for the insides of the thighs. You can also even use the hands to bring the legs a little bit closer towards the floor. Maybe you notice one side is more easily able to get to the floor than the other, and maybe try to even that out, or maybe just when you're practicing from now on, you try to do your bad side just a little bit longer than the good side so you can even out the sides of the body. Okay, so to come out from here, maybe use the hands to lift one leg at a time. You can bring in a little bend, and we're going to bring the knees all the way towards one another and as close towards the floor as you can get. A little wind reliever action going on here. See how maybe feet against the wall can deepen the pose for you. Just breathe into the thighs. And we'll take bound angle pose here, so you'll just start to open up the insides of the feet towards one another. If you can bring the feet a little bit lower, do that, and I've come a little bit away from the wall, so I'm going to scooch a little bit closer here. Do strengthen through the feet, opening up the insides of the feet, flexing the toes, trying to spread the inner thighs away from one another. And you can use the hands here as well, just to press the knees out in two opposing directions. Don't try to just press them straight towards the wall. This is going to crunch up at the hip joints, but if you lengthen the knees away, you're going to get a little more space that way. And again, you can be using your strength to deepen the shape here. Maybe you're just relaxing as well and allowing gravity to do its job. Whatever you need, whatever the body feels like it needs. And we're breathing. You can always close the eyes as well, just to see internally what's going on in the body a little bit better. So you can gently start to pull those knees back and finding your wind reliever against the wall again. Knees are going to come in, feet a little bit closer, pressing into the wall even. We'll just take a little moment in the legs against the wall so you can straighten out the legs. This probably feels pretty good for the hip flexors. You can just relax the toes. And feel the legs just maybe start to feel a little bit lighter. Okay, so to come out, maybe you're bringing the knees a little bit closer and just rocking onto your right or left side. Eventually press yourself up into a seat. Last stretch we're going to do here is at the neck, so you can come to a cross-legged position if that's comfortable. We'll bring the hands to the knees. Send the elbows downward as you lift upward through the crown of the head. And we'll just start to bring the right ear towards the right shoulder. My left shoulder wants to come upward as I'm stretching out the left side, so I'm just going to pull it down a little bit deeper. And if you need more of a stretch, right hand can come to the outside the side of the head and just gently drag that ear towards the right side of the room. If you're like me, maybe you like to tilt the head a little bit downward and see how that feels, and maybe even draw it upwards and find a spot that feels like you want to work into. Today I'm really feeling that right side with the chin down towards the floor a little bit more, kind of about 45 degrees, if that makes any sense. I'm feeling a nice stretch throughout the shoulder blade. We'll just gently release right ear out to side before chin comes in towards the chest, just rounding here, puffing up that upper back. We'll do the other side, so bring the gaze back up to neutral. We're sending shoulders down again, lifting up at the ears. This time, left ear comes over towards that left shoulder. Keep on dragging the right elbow down, and maybe bring the left hand to the head, not pressing all your weight downward in there, but just lengthening the head towards the side of the room to get a little more stretch. And again, I'm going to bring the chin a little bit forward, see how that feels. Bring it on a little bit backward, and I'm liking that forward motion a little bit more, so I'm just going to drag out towards the front left corner of the room. Bringing in a little bit of movement. And again, I'll release, bring the chin towards the chest, just take a little rock side to side here. Lastly, I'm going to turn the gaze up and open up the front of the throat, doing a little rock side to side, stretching out the front of the neck, all the way down into the collarbones. So nice jaw stretch too as well here. You can come back to center. We'll take one cycle of breath together before we close. So deep breath in. And maybe parting the lips, release. Thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe, like, and I'll have a lot more stretching videos out for you.